G'day and welcome to the second video on splitting the middle term for exercise 2.3. You'll need to go and watch the first video before you watch this one because otherwise it can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to do example 3 and also example 4. If you have a look at this one, x squared minus 14x plus 40. Again, I do the 1 times x squared and the 40. I do 1 times 40, which equals 40. And I need to, those two things there need to add to get to negative 14. So I've got a times here and an add here. Now, if you have a look at it, I've got a positive number here, 40, but I've also got a negative number when I add them both together. That indicates to me that they both have to be negative numbers. Okay, and if I think about 40, I can think of two negative numbers that multiply to get to each other. And the ones that I'm thinking of are negative 4 and negative 10. That one becomes negative 4 plus negative 10. Again, it's a little bit of trial and error, but I feel like with this one, the trial and error is a little bit easier to see. You can kind of work it out. Yeah, maybe it's the same. I don't know. Maybe the other method is just as easy as this one in terms of that kind of idea. But nevertheless, I do like this method for the next question, which I'll show you in just a little bit. So this ends up becoming x squared minus 4x minus 10x plus 40. And then I take out the common factors of x and x minus 4. Right? And that's minus 10. And I get x minus 4 as well. Okay, and then I've got the same thing both times, x minus 4. So that comes out as a common factor, x minus 4. And the other one is x minus 10. And hopefully, or it should be, that when you expand that, you'll get back to the original. Okay, so that's another example of that. The next example, I've got a little asterisk next to it because you won't come across any of these in the first semester. Second semester you will, because if you have a look at this, there's no common factor to be taken out. But you can still do this question using this method. In fact, you can do it using the cross method as well. But I like, when they're these ones, when there's a 2 in front of the x squared, I like to use the splitting the middle term method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12. And I'm also going to do, when they add together, they get to negative 1. Okay, so multiply and add. Now, so the difference is negative 1. When they add them together, it's negative 1, which means the numbers have to be close together. So, for example, the number has to be 10 and 10 and negative 11, or 1 and negative 2. They have to be very close to each other, consecutive numbers, one positive, one negative. The bigger one needs to be negative. So, two numbers I'm thinking of, say negative 4 and 3, and negative 4 plus 3. Works out to be negative 1. Okay. If you were doing this question with the cross method, you'd have a little bit more trial and error that you'd need to go through. Whereas this, I feel like that the trial and error is actually quite limited, quite small. So this one is going to be 2x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 6. That becomes 2x x minus 2 plus 3 x minus 2. And so that looks good. I've got the same thing both times, so that's x minus 2, and this one becomes 2x plus 3. Now, don't worry too much about these in the first semester. You won't get any of these in the tests or the exams, but I just wanted to show you kind of where the maths is heading on this one. Okay. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, let me know. But otherwise, you can do 2.3. So thanks for watching.